The smell hit Daehyun first. Sweat, fear, and something chemical that burned his nose. He stepped through the doorway of Station 12's lower deck, wondering why his usual contact had asked to meet him here instead of the cargo bay. The room was darker than it should be. Emergency lights cast red shadows across faces he did not recognize. 40, maybe 50 people stood in a loose circle around a raised platform. Daehyun's stomach turned. He knew what this was. He had heard stories, but he had never seen one with his own eyes. A trafficking auction. He should leave. He should turn around, walk back to his ship, and pretend he never saw this. That was the smart choice. That was the safe choice. But his feet would not move. On the platform stood a creature unlike anything Daehyun had seen in 10 years of hauling cargo across the galaxy. She was small, maybe the size of a human child. Her skin shimmered silver under the harsh lights, and strange markings glowed faintly along her arms and neck. The markings pulsed like a heartbeat, sometimes bright, sometimes dim. She was terrified. Daehyun could see it in every line of her body. She kept her eyes down, her thin shoulders pulled tight. Her hands were bound with energy cuffs that sparked and hissed whenever she moved. Lot 17, a rough voice called out. The auctioneer was a Thexian, his scaled face twisted in something like a smile. Velaran female, young and healthy. No injuries. No defects. Good for research. Good for labor. Good for whatever you need. Laughter rippled through the crowd, dark, ugly laughter that made Daehyun's skin crawl. Start at 5,000 credits, the Thexian said. A hand went up immediately, then another. The bids climbed quickly. 6,000, 7, 8. Daehyun stood frozen at the edge of the crowd. He told himself to leave. He told himself this was not his problem. The galaxy was full of problems, and one man could not fix them all. But the girl's markings flashed brighter, and he saw her whole body shake. 12,000, someone called out. A woman with sharp features and a white coat. I have a lab that needs fresh specimens. Fresh specimens. The words made Daehyun feel sick. 15,000, another voice countered. A heavy-set man with cold eyes. My mine needs workers. She looks strong enough. The girl made a sound then. Not quite a cry, but something close. She spoke in a language Daehyun had never heard before. Musical and strange, but the fear in it was universal. 18,000, the woman in the white coat said. Final offer. The auctioneer raised his hand. 18,000. Going once? Daehyun's voice cut through the room before he could stop himself. 20,000, every head turned. The crowd parted, and Daehyun found himself walking forward. His heart hammered in his chest. 20,000 credits was everything he had. His savings. His emergency fund. The money he had been setting aside for a new engine. Well, the auctioneer said, his eyes gleaming. We have a new bidder. The woman in the white coat glared at him. 22,000. Daehyun swallowed hard. He did not have 22,000. But he looked at the girl again, at her shaking hands and frightened eyes, and he heard himself say, 25,000. Silence fell over the room. The auctioneer waited, looking around at the other bidders. No one spoke. The woman shook her head and stepped back. The heavy-set man muttered something under his breath and turned away. Sold, the auctioneer said, slamming his hand down on the podium. To the human in the back. 25,000 credits. Daehyun's hands shook as he transferred the money from his account. The number on his screen dropped to almost nothing. He had just bought a person. The thought made him want to throw up. The auctioneer led the girl down from the platform and pushed her toward Daehyun. She stumbled, her bound hands making it hard to balance. Daehyun reached out instinctively to steady her, and she flinched away from him like he had tried to hit her. She's all yours, the auctioneer said, handing Daehyun a data chip. Transfer papers are on here. Legal and clean, mostly. Daehyun took the chip without looking at it. Around them, people were already moving on to the next lot. Another person on the platform. Another life being sold like cargo. He looked down at the girl. She was staring at the floor, her whole body tense. The energy cuffs hummed on her wrists. Can you remove these? Daehyun asked, gesturing to the cuffs. The auctioneer laughed. Not recommended. Velarans are tricky, unpredictable. Keep her restrained until you have her secured in your ship. Daehyun's jaw tightened. He did not argue. Not here, not with these people. Instead, he said quietly to the girl, Come with me. I am not going to hurt you. She did not respond. She did not even look up. But when he started walking toward the exit, she followed a few steps behind. The walk back to his ship felt like it took hours. People stared as they passed. Some smirked. Some whispered. Daehyun heard the comments. Lucky human. Wonder what he plans to do with her. Pretty little thing. Shame about the attitude. Each word made him angrier, but he kept his face neutral. He had to get her somewhere safe first. He could deal with his anger later. His ship, the Mugunghwa, waited in Docking Bay 7. It was an old cargo hauler, battered and worn but reliable, home for the past 10 years. The girl stopped at the bottom of the loading ramp. She was staring up at the ship like it was a prison. "It is okay," Daehyun said softly. He kept his distance, his hands visible. "You are safe now. I promise." She did not believe him. He could see it in her eyes when she finally looked at him. Those eyes were golden, bright against her silver skin. They were old eyes, too old for someone so young. But she climbed the ramp anyway because what choice did she have? Inside the ship, Daehyun sealed the door and immediately went to remove the energy cuffs. The girl backed away from him, making that musical sound again. Frightened words he could not understand. "It is okay," he repeated. "I just want to take these off. They are hurting you." He moved slowly, carefully. When his fingers touched the cuff controls, she went completely still. Like a small animal playing dead. The cuffs clicked open and fell to the floor. The girl pulled her hands to her chest, rubbing her wrists where the cuffs had burned her skin. The markings on her arms pulsed brighter for a moment, then faded. She looked at him with those golden eyes, confusion and fear mixed together. Daehyun stepped back, giving her space. "You can stay in the spare quarters. There is food, water, whatever you need. You are safe here, I promise." She did not understand his words, but maybe she understood his tone. Or maybe she was just too tired to run. Either way, she stayed. And Daehyun wondered what the hell he had just gotten himself into. 3 days passed and the girl had not left the cargo bay. Daehyun had shown her to the spare quarters, a small room with a bed and basic amenities. But when he checked an hour later, she was gone. He found her hiding behind a stack of supply crates in the cargo bay, wedged into the smallest space possible. He left her there. Every morning, he brought food to the cargo bay entrance. Simple things at first: nutrient bars, fruit, water. He would set the tray down, back away to the far wall, and sit. Sometimes he spoke to her in calm, quiet tones. Sometimes he just sat in silence. She never came out while he was there, but the food always disappeared. "You know this is ridiculous," Hajin said from the ship's speakers. The AI had been his only companion for years, and she was not shy about sharing her opinions. "She needs medical attention. I am detecting signs of malnutrition and at least one broken bone." Daehyun looked up at the nearest camera. "I know, but I cannot force her. She has been forced enough. She will die if the leg is not treated properly. Then I will keep trying." Hajin made a sound like a sigh, which was impressive for an AI. "You are too soft. You know that, right?" "Maybe," Daehyun said. "But I would rather be too soft than too hard." On the 4th day, something changed. Daehyun brought the usual breakfast tray and sat in his usual spot. But this time, after a few minutes of silence, he heard movement. Slow, cautious movement. He kept his eyes on the floor and did not turn around. More sounds, closer now. He could hear her breathing, quick and nervous, then he felt eyes on him. She was watching him from somewhere close. Testing him, maybe. Trying to understand what kind of person he was. Daehyun stayed perfectly still. After what felt like forever, he heard her move toward the food. The sound of the tray scraping, then eating, fast and desperate like she could not help herself. He smiled a little. "Progress." "Good morning," he said softly, still not turning around. "I hope you like the fruit. I got it from the last station. They said it was fresh." She stopped eating. He could hear her freeze. "It is okay," he continued. "Keep eating. I am not going to turn around. I am not going to do anything. I just thought you might like someone to talk to, even if you do not understand me." Silence. Then slowly the sounds of eating resumed. Daehyun talked about simple things. The ship, the stars outside, where they were going. It did not matter that she could not understand. He just wanted her to hear a kind voice. When he came back later to collect the tray, he found something next to it. A small piece of fabric torn from somewhere. It was folded neatly, a careful gesture, a thank you maybe, or a test. Daehyun picked it up gently and nodded to the cargo bay. You are welcome. By the end of the week, she started coming out when he brought food. She would not come close, but she would sit where he could see her, eating while he sat across the bay. That was when he got his first good look at her injured leg. It was bad, swollen and bent at an angle that made him wince. She tried to hide the limp, but he saw how much pain she was in. "Hajin," he said quietly that night. "Can you make a medical scan without getting close to her?" "Already done," the AI replied. "Broken tibia and fibula, healed wrong. She needs surgery to reset the bones or she will have permanent damage." Daehyun rubbed his face. "How do I convince her to let me help?" "You are asking the wrong entity. I understand computers, not traumatized children." Children. The word hit him hard. She was a child, alone and scared and hurt. The next morning, Daehyun brought food as usual, but he also brought the medical scanner, moving slowly so she could see everything he did. She tensed when she saw the device. "It is okay," he said, stopping several feet away. "This is just a scanner. It does not hurt, see?" He ran it over his own arm, showing her the harmless blue light. "It just looks. It helps me understand injuries." She watched him with those golden eyes, suspicious. Daehyun set the scanner down between them and backed away. "You do not have to let me scan you. But your leg is broken. I can see it hurts. I want to help fix it, but only if you let me." He sat down and waited. She stared at the scanner for a long time, then at him, then back at the scanner. Finally, moving like every muscle hurt, she reached out and picked it up. She examined it carefully, turning it over in her hands. Then she looked at him with a question in her eyes. Daehyun nodded and pointed to her leg. She hesitated. Then slowly, she ran the scanner over her injured leg. The device beeped and displayed data on its small screen. Daehyun kept his voice calm. "Can I see?" Another long pause. Then she slid the scanner across the floor toward him. He picked it up and looked at the readout. It was worse than he thought. The bones had started healing wrong. If he waited much longer, it would be permanent. "I need to fix this," he said, looking at her. "It will hurt at first, but then it will feel better." "Much better. Do you trust me?" She did not understand the words, but maybe she understood the tone. Or maybe she was just tired of the pain. She nodded. Just barely. But it was a nod. Daehyun's heart nearly broke. "Okay, thank you. I will be very careful. I promise." Getting her to the medical bay was an ordeal. She could barely walk. In the end, Daehyun had to carry her, and she went rigid in his arms, terrified. But she did not fight him. The medical procedure took 2 hours. Hajin guided him through the bone realignment while the girl slept under anesthesia. When it was done, her leg was properly set and healing in a medical brace. Daehyun stayed by her side while she woke up. Her eyes opened slowly, confused and afraid. Then she saw him and seemed to remember. She looked down at her leg, at the brace, and touched it gently. "Better?" Daehyun asked. She tested, moving her leg carefully. No pain crossed her face. The relief was immediate and obvious. She looked at him, and for the first time she did not look afraid. "Thank you," she said. Daehyun blinked. The words were in Standard, heavily accented and uncertain, but clear. "You speak Standard?" She shook her head. "Hajin, teach." She pointed to the ceiling where the AI sensors were. "I have been running language programs while she sleeps," Hajin said, sounding pleased with herself. "Basic vocabulary and grammar. She is a fast learner." Daehyun felt something warm in his chest. "Hope, maybe. What is your name?" he asked the girl. She looked at him for a long moment. Then slowly she said, "Lyria?" "Lyria," he repeated and smiled. "My name is Daehyun. You are safe here, Lyria, I promise. You are safe." She studied his face, searching for lies. She must not have found any because after a moment she said again, "Thank you, Daehyun." And that was the beginning. Station Harmony 7 was everything Station 12 was not, clean, bright, and official. The kind of place where rules mattered and paperwork was law. Daehyun hated it immediately. Lyria walked beside him through the main corridor, her leg still in the medical brace but healing well. She stayed close, her hand occasionally brushing his arm when the crowds got thick. 3 weeks together had built something between them. Not quite trust yet, but the beginning of it. She was learning Standard quickly. They could have simple conversations now. She had told him about her home planet, about green skies and singing forests, About her family before the raiders came. That was why they were here. To make things right. To find a way to send her home. The Coalition Immigration Office was on the upper deck. Glass walls and chrome furniture. Everything cold and official. A woman in a gray uniform sat behind the main desk, her expression professionally neutral. "Can I help you?" she asked. "Yes," Daehyun said. "I need to file for refugee status and repatriation assistance." The woman, her name tag read Officer Park Ji-woo, pulled up a screen. "Name of the refugee?" "Lyria, she is Velaran." Ji-woo's fingers stopped moving. She looked up at them, her expression shifting slightly. "Velaran?" "Yes. Come with me." She led them to a private office and closed the door. The friendly professionalism was gone. "Where did you get a Valoran?" she asked bluntly. Daehyun felt Lyria tense beside him. He kept his voice steady. "I rescued her from traffickers. I want to help her get home." Ji-woo leaned back in her chair, studying them both. "Do you have documentation of the rescue?" "I have the purchase records," Daehyun said, and hated how the words tasted. "Let me see them." He handed over the data chip. Ji-woo loaded it and read in silence. Her expression grew grimmer with each line. "This is a legal bill of sale?" she said finally. "I know. I had to buy her to get her away from those people. According to coalition law, that makes her your property." The word made Daehyun feel sick. Lyria was looking between them, understanding enough to know something was wrong. "She is not property," Daehyun said firmly. "She is a person, a child. I want to file for her refugee status so she can go home." Ji-woo shook her head slowly. "That is the problem. Velarans do not have diplomatic status with the coalition. Their homeworld was annexed by Zentak Corporation 15 years ago. Strip mining operation. As far as official records show, there is no Velaran government and no homeworld to return to." The words hit like a punch. Daehyun looked at Lyria. She was staring at the desk, her silver skin pale. "There has to be something," Daehyun said. "Survivors, colonies, something." "If there are, they are not registered," Ji-woo said. "Without diplomatic status, I cannot process refugee claims. Legally speaking, she does not exist in our system." "Then make her exist. Register her as a citizen, as a refugee, as anything." Ji-woo's expression softened slightly. "I wish I could. But the process requires a sponsor government or recognized entity. Without that, the best I can do is file her as salvage or property, which, according to your documents, she already is." "That is insane," Daehyun said, his voice rising. "She is sitting right here. She is a living person." "I know," Ji-woo said quietly, "and I am sorry. But the system was not built for situations like this. The law sees her as unregistered alien life. Without diplomatic ties, she has no legal protections." "What happens if I just register her anyway?" Daehyun demanded. "Without the property papers? Then she gets flagged in the system. Coalition authorities would take her for processing. She would end up in a detention facility while they figured out what to do with her. Those facilities," Ji-woo trailed off, shaking her head, "they are not good places, especially for someone young and alone." Daehyun felt trapped. Every option was wrong. Every path led to something terrible. "So what am I supposed to do?" he asked. Ji-woo looked at them both for a long moment. Then she leaned forward. "Unofficially, keep the documentation. It is the only legal protection she has right now. As your property, no one else can touch her. It is horrible, but it is true. And keep moving. Do not stay in one place too long. Do not draw attention. That is it? That is your advice?" "That is reality," Ji-woo said. "I am sorry. I truly am. But the system does not care about one Valoran girl. It barely cares about registered citizens." They sat in silence. Daehyun felt rage and helplessness warring in his chest. Lyria touched his arm gently. When he looked at her, she said in careful standard, "Is okay. I stay with you." His heart broke a little. She should not have to be okay with this. She should be home with her family, safe. But home was gone. Her family was gone. All she had was him. "I will find a way," he told her. "I promise. I will find a way to make this right." As they left the office, Ji-woo called after them. "Wait." She handed Daehyun another data chip. "There is a woman named Bae Sora. She runs a human rights advocacy group. They work with displaced aliens. I cannot officially recommend her, but maybe she can help where I cannot." Daehyun took the chip. "Thank you." "Be careful," Ji-woo said. "Word has spread about you. People are talking. Not everyone will approve of what you are doing. What am I doing? Dayan asked. Being decent, Jiwoo said. In a galaxy that often is not. They found Bae-Sora in a small office on the lower levels. She was a thin woman with tired eyes and hands that never stopped moving. Her office was covered in files and screens showing faces of different aliens. You are the hauler with the Velaran girl, she said when they arrived. It was not a question. How did you know? People talk. Especially when a human buys a child and actually treats her like a child. Sora studied Lyria with kind eyes. You are lucky to have found him, little one. Lyria moved closer to Daehyun. Can you help her? Daehyun asked. Officer Park said there might be a way. Sora's expression was grim. Maybe, but it will not be easy or fast. The coalition system is broken. It was designed by corporations and politicians who see aliens as resources, not people. Changing that takes time. How much time? Years, maybe longer. Daehyun felt his hope crumbling. So what do we do? You keep her safe, Sora said. You keep moving. You keep those property papers even though they make you sick. And you wait for the galaxy to catch up with its conscience. That is it? That is survival, Sora said. But I will add her to my network. If I hear about Valoran survivors or colonies, I will contact you. And if things get dangerous, I have places that can hide people like her. Safe houses, sanctuaries. Sanctuaries? Sora smiled slightly. There are others like you. People who choose compassion over convenience. We help each other. Remember that. When they left the office, Daehyun felt no better than when they arrived. The system did not care. The law did not protect her. They were alone. But as they walked back to the ship, Lyria slipped her hand into his. Not alone, she said, like she could read his thoughts. Together. He looked down at her, this small silver child who had lost everything, and he realized she was right. They were not alone. They had each other. It would have to be enough. The Mugunghwa had always been Daehyun's ship, his home. But now it was their ship, their home. Lyria's voice filled the corridors. Her laughter echoed in the cargo bay. Her drawings covered the walls of her room. Pictures of stars and ships in the green skies she remembered from her lost world. She was thriving. That was the only word for it. Her standard was nearly perfect now, with just a slight musical accent that made every word sound like a song. She had grown taller, healthier. The scared, broken child from the auction was disappearing, replaced by someone curious and brave. Every morning they ate breakfast together in the galley. Lyria had learned to make tea the way Daehyun liked it, and he had learned to cook the sweet grain dishes that reminded her of home. Hajin, how long until we reach Terminus Station? Lyria asked one morning, her legs swinging from the chair. Approximately 4 hours, the AI replied. Though if Daehyun would let me update the navigation systems, we could shave off 30 minutes. The navigation systems are fine, Daehyun said. They are 12 years old. They work. Lyria giggled. You two argue like family. The word made Daehyun pause. Family. Yes, that was what this had become. Not by blood, not by any traditional definition, but family nonetheless. Daeoppa, Lyria said, using the Korean term for older brother that she had adopted. Can I help with the cargo check today? If you want, he said. But it is boring work. I like helping. And she did. She had become his shadow, learning every system on the ship, how to read power levels, how to repair coupling joints, how to calculate fuel efficiency. She was smart, faster at learning than anyone he had ever known. You would make a good engineer someday, he told her as they worked in the cargo bay. You think so? I know so. She smiled, that bright smile that still surprised him every time. Hajin says I am a natural. Hajin is right. They worked in comfortable silence for a while. Then Lyria said quietly, Daeoppa, can I ask you something? Always. Why did you buy me? That day at the station. You could have walked away. Daehyun set down the tool he was holding. It was not the first time she had asked, but he always tried to answer honestly. Because it was the right thing to do, he said. Because you needed help and I could help. Because no one should be treated the way they were treating you. But you spent all your money. Hajin told me? Hajin talks too much, Daehyun muttered. Why though? Lyria pressed. You did not know me. I could have been dangerous. I could have been trouble. Daehyun looked at her, this child who had become so important to him. You were scared and alone. That was all I needed to know. Lyria was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "My family, before the raiders came, they taught me something. They said the universe tests people. It gives them moments where they can choose to be kind or cruel. Those moments define who we really are. Your family was wise. You passed the test," she said softly. "You chose kindness." Daehyun felt his throat tighten. "I'm glad I did." She moved closer and wrapped her arms around him in a tight hug. Her bioluminescent markings glowed warmly against his shirt. "Me too," she whispered. 2 days later, they docked at Terminus Station to meet Minho. Choi Minho had been Daehyun's friend for 15 years. They had served together in the Coalition fleet before Daehyun left to become a hauler. Minho had stayed on for another 5 years before retiring to become a station mechanic. He was waiting at the docking bay, a huge grin on his weathered face. But the grin faded when he saw Lyria standing beside Daehyun. "Is that her?" Minho asked quietly. "The girl everyone is talking about?" "Everyone?" Daehyun felt a chill. "You are famous, my friend. Or infamous, depending on who you ask. The human who bought an alien child and treats her like family. The story has spread." Daehyun looked around the docking bay, suddenly paranoid. "Is that a problem?" "For some people, yes," Minho said. "Can we talk inside your ship?" They retreated to the Mogonghwa. Lyria went to her room to work on her studies while the two men talked in the galley. "What have you heard?" Daehyun asked. Minho's expression was serious. "Questions. Lots of them. People asking about you. Where you go. What routes you run. Some are just curious. But some—" He paused. "Some are the wrong kind of interested. Bounty hunters? Maybe. Or buyers who want what you have. Or people who think you are doing something illegal." Minho leaned forward. "Listen, I know you. I know your heart. But the galaxy does not know you. And when people see a human with a young alien girl, they assume the worst." Daehyun felt anger rise in his chest. "Let them assume. I know the truth. Lyria knows the truth. Truth does not matter if you are dead," Minho said bluntly. "Or if someone takes her from you. You need to be careful. I am careful." "Are you? You dock at public stations. You use your real name and ship registration. You are not hiding." "Because I am not doing anything wrong," Daehyun said firmly. "I refuse to act like a criminal when all I am doing is keeping a child safe." Minho sighed. "Your righteousness is going to get you killed." "Then I die righteous." "And what happens to her when you are gone?" The question hit hard. Daehyun had not let himself think about it. But Minho was right. If something happened to him, what would happen to Lyria? "I will be more careful," he said finally. "But I will not hide, and I will not give her up." "I know," Minho said, and his voice was gentle now. "That is why I am telling you this. Because you are my friend, and I do not want to see you hurt. Either of you." They heard footsteps, and Lyria appeared in the doorway. She looked worried. "Is everything okay?" she asked. "Yes," Daehyun said, forcing a smile. "Just talking. Come here, I want you to meet someone properly." Minho stood and bowed slightly, a gesture of respect. "Hello, Lyria. I am Minho. I have known your Day Appa for a long time." Lyria studied him carefully, then bowed back. "He talks about you. You were soldiers together. We were. He saved my life once." "Really?" She looked at Daehyun with wide eyes. "It was nothing," Daehyun said, embarrassed. "It was everything," Minho corrected. "He carried me 3 miles through hostile territory with a broken leg. Never left me behind." Lyria's smile was proud. "That sounds like him." Minho's expression softened as he looked at her. "He is a good man. The best I know. You are lucky to have found each other." Later that evening, after Minho had left, Daehyun found Lyria in the observation bay. She was staring out at the stars, her markings glowing softly in the darkness. "Cannot sleep?" he asked, sitting beside her. "Too many thoughts," she said. "Want to talk about them?" She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Minho is worried about us. About people trying to hurt us." "Yes. Are you scared?" Daehyun considered lying, then decided against it. "Sometimes. But not too scared to do what is right." Lyria nodded slowly. Then she did something unexpected. She pressed her forehead against his, her hands coming up to rest gently on either side of his face. Her markings blazed bright, and he felt warmth spread through him. "What is this?" he whispered. "A Velaran custom," she said softly. "It is how families bond. How they share strength and promise to protect each other." The warmth intensified, and for a moment, Daehyun felt something incredible. Not quite words, but emotion. Her gratitude. Her trust, her love. "You are my family now," she said. "No matter what happens, no matter what anyone says, you are my family." Tears pricked his eyes. "You are mine too," he said. "Always." They sat like that for a long time, foreheads pressed together, her markings glowing in the darkness. Outside the stars shone cold and distant, but inside the ship there was warmth. There was family. There was home. The refueling station at Outpost. Kepler was supposed to be safe, remote, quiet, the kind of place where nobody asked questions and everyone minded their own business. Daehyun should have known better. They had been there for 2 hours, refueling and restocking supplies. Lyria was with him as always. She never stayed on the ship alone anymore, not after Minho's warning. They were loading the last of the supply crates when Daehyun felt it. That prickling on the back of his neck, the sense of being watched. He looked around the docking bay. A dozen ships, various sizes, workers moving cargo. Everything normal. But something was wrong. "Lyria," he said quietly, "stay close to me." She heard the tone in his voice and moved closer, her hand finding his. That was when they appeared. 5 of them. Big, armed, and moving with the practiced coordination of professionals. Mercenaries. The lead one was a Graxian, his scaled skin dark green and his eyes cold. "Daehyun Kang," the Graxian said. "We have been looking for you." Daehyun positioned himself between Lyria and the mercenaries. "I do not know you." "No, but we know you." The human with the Valoran girl. "Quite famous these days." "We are just leaving," Daehyun said, his hand moving toward the gun at his hip. "I do not think so." The Graxian gestured, and the others spread out, blocking the path to the ship. "We have a contract. Someone wants the girl back, alive and undamaged. They are offering quite a lot of money." Lyria's grip on Daehyun's hand tightened. He could feel her trembling. "She is not going anywhere," Daehyun said. "That is not your choice," the Graxian said. "You can hand her over peacefully and we will leave you alive. Or you can be difficult and we will take her anyway. Either way we get paid." Daehyun's mind raced. 5 armed mercenaries. He had his pistol, but he was one man. Even if he was a good shot, he could not take them all. Not before one of them grabbed Lyria. "Who hired you?" he asked, buying time. "Does it matter?" "Some research facility wants fresh Valoran samples. Something about unique biology. They were very disappointed when you took this one off the market." Samples. The word made Daehyun's blood boil. "She is not a sample. She is a child. She is a commodity," the Graxian corrected. "And we are wasting time." "Hand her over." Daehyun drew his gun in one smooth motion. The mercenaries reacted instantly, their weapons coming up. For a frozen moment, nobody moved. "You are outnumbered," the Graxian said. "You cannot win this." "Maybe not," Daehyun said. "But I can make sure you do not get her easily." The Graxian smiled, cold and cruel. "Brave, stupid but brave, kill him. Stun the girl." Everything happened at once. Daehyun fired, dropping one mercenary immediately. He dove to the side, pulling Lyria with him behind a supply crate. Energy bolts sizzled through the air where they had been standing. "Stay down!" he shouted at Lyria. But she was not listening. Her eyes were wide, glowing brighter than he had ever seen. Her markings blazed like fire across her skin. "Lyria, get behind me." The mercenaries were advancing, firing as they moved. Daehyun returned fire, but there were too many. He felt a bolt graze his shoulder, pain exploding through his arm. Then Lyria screamed. It was not a normal scream. It was something else, something that vibrated in his bones and made his teeth ache. The air around her rippled and warped. The mercenaries stumbled. The closest one dropped to his knees, hands over his ears. Another one's nose started bleeding. Lyria screamed again, and this time Daehyun felt it. A wave of pure psychic energy that hit like a physical force. It washed over him but did not hurt. It felt protective, like it recognized him as safe. But the mercenaries were not safe. They fell, all of them, clutching their heads and crying out. The Graxian tried to raise his weapon, but his hands were shaking too badly. Then Lyria stopped screaming, and the silence was deafening. She swayed on her feet, her markings flickering. "Daeapa?" she whispered. Then she collapsed. Daehyun caught her before she hit the ground. She was unconscious, her breathing shallow. Her skin was cold. Around them, the mercenaries were groaning, trying to recover. Daehyun did not wait. He scooped Lyria into his arms and ran for the ship. Bullets and energy bolts chased him. One hit his leg and he stumbled but did not fall. He could not fall. Not while Lyria needed him. He made it to the ship and slammed the ramp control. The door sealed behind them with a hiss. "Hajin, emergency launch," he shouted. "Now!" The ship's engines roared to life. Through the viewport, he saw the mercenaries scrambling, trying to reach their ships, but the Mugunkwa was already lifting off, blasting away from the station. "Warning," Hajin said. "You have been hit. Multiple injuries detected." "Not now," Daehyun gasped. He carried Lyria to the medical bay and laid her on the bed. Her markings were barely glowing now, just faint flickers. "Hajin, what is wrong with her?" "Scanning. Vital signs are weak but stable. Energy depletion. Whatever she did took enormous effort. Her body is exhausted. Will she be okay?" "I believe so. But she needs rest. Days of it." Daehyun felt relief wash over him. Then the adrenaline wore off and pain crashed through him. His shoulder, his leg. He looked down and saw blood. "Hajin," he said, his voice sounding distant. "I think I need help. You have been shot twice. You are losing blood rapidly. Sit down before you fall down." He tried to sit, but his legs gave out. He hit the floor hard. "Daehyun." Hajin's voice was urgent now. "Stay conscious." Initiating emergency medical protocols. But the world was going gray. He looked at Lyria, sleeping peacefully on the medical bed. Safe. That was all that mattered. She was safe. "Good," he whispered. Then everything went dark. When he woke up, the first thing he saw was Lyria's face. She was crying, tears streaming down her silver cheeks. Her hands were pressed against his chest and her markings were glowing bright. He felt warmth spreading through him, pleasant and strange. "Lyria?" His voice was rough. "You are awake." She sobbed with relief. "I thought—" "I was so scared." "What are you doing?" "Helping you heal. My people, we can share energy, help injuries heal faster. I did not know if it would work on humans, but I had to try." Daehyun tried to sit up and was surprised when he could. The pain in his shoulder and leg was dull now, manageable. He looked at the wounds. They were sealed, healing impossibly fast. "You saved my life," he said. "You saved mine first," she said, wiping her eyes. "Many times. It is my turn. You saved both our lives back there. What you did, that scream—" "I did not know I could do that," she admitted. "I was just so scared and angry, and then it just happened." "You have psychic abilities." She nodded. "My mother did too, but mine are weak. I never trained them. That is why it hurt so much." Daehyun pulled her into a hug and she wrapped her arms around him tightly. "I am sorry," she whispered. "This is my fault. People are trying to hurt you because of me." "No," he said firmly. "This is not your fault. Never your fault. Those people are evil. You are good. You are brave. You are amazing. But you got hurt because of me. And you healed me. We take care of each other. That is what family does." She pulled back to look at him, her golden eyes searching his face. "Promise me something. Anything. Promise you will not die for me. That we will both stay alive, together." Daehyun felt his heart clench. "I promise. Both of us together, always, always." She smiled through her tears and her markings glowed warm and bright. Outside the ship, stars streamed past as they fled deeper into space. Running from danger, searching for safety, but inside they had each other. And for now, that was enough. The coordinates came from Bay Sora 2 weeks after the attack. Just numbers at first, no explanation. Then a simple message: "This place is safe. They can help. Tell no one else." Daehyun stared at the message for a long time before showing it to Lyria. "Do you trust her?" Lyria asked. "I do not know. But we are running out of options." It was true. After the mercenary attack, they had been moving constantly, never staying anywhere more than a few hours, sleeping in shifts, always looking over their shoulders. Lyria was tired. He could see it in her face. She had not complained once, but he knew this life was wearing on her. "What if it is a trap?" she asked. "Then we deal with it together." "Like always," she nodded slowly. "Okay, let us go." The coordinates led them to a small moon orbiting a gas giant in an unnamed system. No stations, no traffic, just barren rock and ice. "Are you sure this is right?" Lyria asked, looking at the empty space around them. "This is what she sent," Daehyun said. Then he noticed something on the scanner. "Hajin, what is that?" Detecting a structure beneath the surface. "Approximately 2 kilometers down. It is large. Very large. Can you hail them?" "Attempting." No response on standard channels. Wait. Receiving a tight beam transmission. Audio only, a woman's voice came through the speakers. Mugunghwa, this is Haven Colony. Please transmit authorization code. I do not have a code, Daehyun said. Baesora sent me. Silence. Then stand by, they waited. Daehyun's hand rested on the controls, ready to run if this went wrong. Finally, the voice returned. Authorization accepted. Follow the beacon to the landing bay. Welcome to Haven. A light appeared on their scanner, marking an opening in the moon's surface. They followed it down through a narrow tunnel into a massive underground chamber. Daehyun's breath caught. The chamber was huge, easily a kilometer across, and it was full of life. Buildings made from salvaged ship parts. Gardens growing under artificial lights. Hundreds, maybe thousands of aliens moving through streets and markets. Species he recognized and many he did not. It is beautiful, Lyria whispered. They landed on a designated pad, and a woman was waiting for them. She was human, maybe 40 years old, with sharp eyes and calloused hands. Her expression was cautious but not unfriendly. I am Yoon Terry, she said. I run Haven. Sora said you might come. What is this place? Daehyun asked. Sanctuary, Terry said simply. For aliens who have nowhere else to go. Refugees, survivors, anyone the Coalition deems unregistered or property. She looked at Lyria. People like her. Lyria moved closer to Daehyun. Uncertain. You are safe here, Terry said gently. Both of you. But we need to talk. In private, she led them through the colony. Everywhere Daehyun looked, he saw aliens living normal lives. Children playing. Adults working. People laughing and talking. It was like a real city, just hidden beneath rock and ice. How long has this been here? He asked. 7 years, Terry said. Started with just me and 12 refugees. Now we have over 2,000 residents, maybe more. I stopped counting. They reached a building near the center of the colony. Inside was an office, cluttered but organized. Terry gestured for them to sit. Sora told me your story, she said. The auction, the rescue, everything after. She says you are one of the good ones. I just did what anyone should do, Daehyun said. But most people do not, Terry replied. That makes you rare, valuable, also dangerous to yourself. I know. Mercenaries already found us once, and they will find you again. Word has spread too far. Every bounty hunter and trafficker in 3 sectors knows about the human with the Valoran girl. She looked at Lyria. Some very bad people want you. The kind who do not give up. Lyria's markings dimmed. What should we do? Terry leaned forward. You can stay here. Both of you. We have room. We have security. No one knows this place exists except the people we trust. Daehyun felt hope and fear mixed together. You would do that? Yes, but there is something else. Terry pulled up a screen and turned it toward them. 2 months ago, we rescued a group from a crashed ship. One of them is Valoran. Lyria gasped. Her hands flew to her mouth. His name is Hyunwoo, Terry said. He is the only Valoran we have ever found. Until now. Can I meet him? Lyria's voice was shaking. Please, can I meet him? Of course. That is why I brought you here. They found Hyunwoo in one of the gardens tending to strange plants with silver leaves. He was tall for a Valoran, maybe twice Lyria's height, with markings that glowed deep blue. When he saw Lyria, he froze. His markings flared bright. Lyria ran to him, calling out in her native language. Words Daehyun had never heard before, musical and beautiful. Hyunwoo dropped to his knees and caught her as she crashed into him. They spoke rapidly, urgently, their markings pulsing in rhythm with their words. Daehyun watched, feeling his chest tighten. This was what she needed, what she deserved. Her own people, her own language. After several minutes, Lyria turned back to him, tears streaming down her face. But she was smiling. Daeoppa, he is from my region. He knows my village. He knows what happened. Hyunwoo stood, studying Daehyun carefully. Then he spoke in standard, heavily accented but clear. You are the human who saved her. Yes, I owe you a debt I can never repay. To find another of our kind alive and well. Hyunwoo's voice broke. We thought we were alone. All of us here thought we were the last. How many Valorans are here? Daehyun asked. Just me. Just me until today. Hyunwoo put his hand on Lyria's shoulder. But now there are 2. 2 is better than 1. Over the next few hours, Daehyun learned their stories. The raid on the Valoran homeworld. The ships that took survivors to be sold. how Hyunwoo had escaped and spent years searching for others of his kind. There may be more, Hyunwoo said, scattered across the galaxy, but finding them is almost impossible. Lyria was transformed in Hyunwoo's presence. She laughed more easily, spoke more freely. It was like watching a part of her come alive that had been sleeping. That night, Terry found Daehyun alone on an observation deck overlooking the colony. "She is happy here," Terry said. "Yes. You should leave her with us. She would be safe. She would be with her own kind." Daehyun had been thinking the same thing. "I know, but you do not want to. It is not about what I want. It is about what is best for her." Terry studied him. "You really love her, do not you? Like she was your own daughter?" "Yes." "Then you know what you have to do." Daehyun closed his eyes. "I do." The next morning he found Lyria in the garden with Hyunwoo. They were teaching each other plant names, switching between Standard and Velarin. "Lyria," Daehyun said, "can we talk?" She came to him immediately, sensing something important. They walked to a quiet corner. "You should stay here," Daehyun said. "With Hyunwoo. With your people. You would be safe, happy." Lyria's eyes widened. "What?" "No, I want to stay with you. I will visit. As often as I can. But this place, these people, they can give you things I cannot. Safety, community, someone who speaks your language and understands your culture." "But you are my family," Lyria said, her voice breaking. "You saved me. You took care of me. I do not want to leave you." "I do not want you to leave either," Daehyun admitted. "But I want you to be safe more than I want you with me. Here you can have both. You can stay with Hyunwoo and the others, and I can visit between cargo runs." Tears spilled down her cheeks. "You are not abandoning me?" "Never," he said fiercely. "I could never abandon you. You are my family, Lyria. Always. But family means wanting what is best for each other, even when it hurts." She threw her arms around him, sobbing. He held her tightly, his own tears falling. "I will come back," he promised. "Every chance I get. And when you are older, if you want to leave, if you want to travel with me again, I will take you anywhere you want to go." "Promise?" "I promise." They stood like that for a long time. Then Lyria pulled back and pressed her forehead to his, her markings blazing bright. "You will always be my Deapa," she said. "Always. And you will always be my family," he replied. That evening, the Velarin survivors held a ceremony. Hyunwoo explained it to Daehyun first. "Among our people there is a bond deeper than blood. We call it heartkin. It is chosen, not born. It is sacred. 7 Velarins formed a circle in the garden, Lyria and Hyunwoo among them. They sang in their native language and their markings pulsed in perfect harmony. Then they invited Daehyun to the center. "You saved one of ours," Hyunwoo said. "You treated her as family when you could have treated her as property. You gave up everything to keep her safe. By our customs, that makes you worthy of heartkin status." One by one, they pressed their foreheads to his, sharing warmth and light. When Lyria's turn came, her markings blazed so bright it hurt to look at. "Heartkin," she whispered. "Forever. Forever," he repeated. When the ceremony ended, Daehyun felt different. Like something fundamental had changed. He could not explain it, but he felt connected to them all. To Lyria most of all. He stayed for 3 more days. Teaching Lyria how to send messages to the ship. Promising to bring her favorite foods next time. Making sure she was truly settled and happy. When he finally boarded the Mugunghwa to leave, Lyria stood at the landing pad, waving. Hyunwoo stood beside her, his hand on her shoulder. She looked happy. Safe. Home. It was the hardest thing Daehyun had ever done, lifting off and leaving her there. But it was also the rightest thing. "You did good," Hajin said quietly as they left the moon behind. Daehyun stood on the bridge of the Mugunghwa, reviewing his route for the day. But it was not a normal cargo run. Not anymore. In the cargo bay, hidden behind false panels and shipping containers, were 12 refugees. 2 families from a destroyed colony, a scientist fleeing persecution, an orphan who reminded him too much of Lyria. He had become a smuggler, not of goods or weapons, but of people who had nowhere else to go. "Hajin, how long until we reach Haven?" he asked. 6 hours at current speed. "All refugees are stable. The child is sleeping." Daehyun nodded. The child, a small Tarkonian girl, had been terrified when he found her. Alone in a refugee camp, scheduled for deportation to a labor facility. He could not walk away. Not after Lyria. He never could walk away anymore. His communicator chimed. A message from Terry. He opened it and smiled. Lyria says hello. She wants to know if you are bringing more books. Also, she finished the engineering certification exam. Top marks. Pride swelled in his chest. Of course she did. Lyria was brilliant. In the year since he had left her at Haven, she had grown so much. Taller, smarter, more confident. He visited every month, sometimes more. Each time she ran to him like no time had passed at all. They would spend days together talking and laughing and planning for the future. She was thriving, and that made everything worth it. Tell her I have books and her favorite tea, he typed back. And tell her I'm very proud. The response came quickly. She is glowing, literally. Her markings do that when she is happy. Daehyun laughed quietly.
He could picture it perfectly.
Over the past year, his life had found new purpose. After his first visit back to Haven, Terry had asked if he would consider helping transport other refugees. Just occasionally, she said. Just when he had space. 1 trip became 2. 2 became 5. Now it was all he did. The cargo hauling was a cover. His real work was moving people to safety, finding the lost and forgotten and giving them a chance at Haven or other sanctuaries that had sprung up across the underground network. He was not alone in this work anymore. At Station Frontier 9, he met with Minho in a quiet bar. His old friend looked tired but satisfied. 3 more this week, Minho said, sliding a data chip across the table. A family from Sector 8, the parents are engineers. The kids are young. They need sanctuary. I can take them, Daehyun said. I have room. You always have room. Minho smiled. You know, when you first told me what you were doing, I thought you were crazy. Now half the mechanics on the station are helping. Hiding people. Passing information. You started something, my friend. I just did what needed to be done. Exactly. And others saw that. They saw that one person could make a difference. So they decided to make a difference too. It was true. The network had grown far beyond Terry's original sanctuary. Across the galaxy, people were choosing compassion. Haulers, mechanics, station workers, even some coalition officers who quietly looked the other way. All because one man had bought a scared alien girl and treated her with kindness. 2 days later, Daehyun arrived at Haven with his refugees. The landing bay crew was ready, welcoming the newcomers with warm smiles and gentle words. Lyria was waiting on the platform, practically bouncing with excitement. The moment he stepped off the ship, she ran to him. Deoppa. He caught her in a hug, lifting her off the ground. She was almost as tall as him now. Growing up so fast. I missed you, she said into his shoulder. I missed you too. She pulled back, her golden eyes examining his face. You look tired. Long trip. But I'm okay. Come on, I want to show you something. She pulled him through the colony, chattering about everything that had happened since his last visit. New arrivals. New gardens, a school that had opened for the refugee children. And guess what, she said. Hyunwoo and I found 2 more Valorans, a brother and sister. They arrived 3 days ago. There are 4 of us now. The joy in her voice made him smile. That is amazing. It is because of you, she said seriously. Your network found them, brought them here. You saved them like you saved me. We saved them, he corrected. All of us together. She led him to a new section of the colony, a large open space with several tables and screens. Young aliens sat working on various projects. Some were studying, others were building things. All of them looked focused and happy. This is the training center, Lyria said proudly. I help teach engineering basics. Hyunwoo teaches agriculture. Others teach medicine, piloting, everything. We are preparing people to build lives, not just survive. Daehyun felt his throat tighten. You did this? We all did. But I remembered what you taught me. How you gave me purpose by teaching me about the ship, so I wanted to do the same for others. One of the students, a young Tarkonian, looked up and saw Daehyun. His eyes widened. You are him, the human everyone talks about. I am just a hauler, Daehyun said, uncomfortable. You are a hero, the student said. You saved my cousin. Brought her here 6 months ago. She says you gave her hope when she had none. Other students were looking now, murmuring. Daehyun felt his face heat. He does not like attention, Lyria said, amused. He never has, but he deserves it. That evening, Terry called a gathering in the colony's main hall. Hundreds of aliens packed the space. more than Daehyun had ever seen in one place. "Most of you know Daehyun," Terry said from the stage. "He has been bringing refugees to Haven for almost a year now, risking his life over and over to save people he does not even know." Applause erupted. Daehyun wanted to disappear. "But what you might not know," Terry continued, "is that his actions have inspired a movement. Across 12 sectors, over 100 people are now actively helping displaced aliens find sanctuary. Our network has saved more than 3,000 lives this year alone." More applause, louder now. "And it all started with one choice. One moment where a man decided that doing the right thing was more important than doing the easy thing." Terry gestured to Lyria, who stood and walked to the stage. "I asked Lyria to say a few words. She knows better than anyone what Daehyun's kindness means." Lyria took the microphone, her markings glowing bright. She looked nervous but determined. "A year and a half ago, I stood on an auction block," she said, her voice clear. "I was terrified. Alone, I thought my life was over. That I would be sold to people who would hurt me or use me as an experiment." The hall was silent. "Then a human bit on me. I thought he would be like the others. I thought he would hurt me too, but instead he saved me. He gave me food. He healed my leg. He taught me his language. He treated me like family when he could have treated me like property." She looked directly at Daehyun. "He gave me my life back. Not just my life, but my hope, my future. Everything I am today, I am because one person chose kindness over cruelty." Tears were streaming down her face now, and that kindness spread. It spread to all of you. To this place. To thousands of people across the galaxy. One choice created all of this. One act of compassion changed everything. The applause was deafening. People were standing, cheering. Daehyun felt overwhelmed. Lyria came down from the stage and hugged him tightly. "Thank you," she whispered. "For everything. For saving me. For believing in me. For showing me that the galaxy still has good people in it." "You are the good one," he said. "Look at what you have built here. What you are teaching these people. I am so proud of you." "I learned it from you," she said. Later that night, they sat in the observation deck looking out at the colony below. It was beautiful, this hidden world of hope. "Do you ever regret it?" Lyria asked. "Buying me that day? Changing your whole life?" Daehyun thought about it. His old life seemed distant now. Lonely. Small. This life, this purpose was so much bigger. "No," he said. "Not for a second. Even though you are a wanted man? Even though you risk your life every time you smuggle refugees? Even then, some things are worth the risk." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "I am glad you think so." "Me too." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the lights of the colony twinkle below. In the gardens, children played. In the markets, people laughed. In the schools, students learned. All because one man had made one choice. Daehyun's communicator chimed. Another message from a contact. Another refugee who needed help. Another life to save. He looked at the message, then at Lyria. "Work calls," he said. "I know," she said. "Go save someone else. Give them the same chance you gave me." He stood and kissed the top of her head. "I will be back soon. I promise. I know. You always keep your promises." As he walked back to his ship, Daehyun thought about the galaxy, about how broken it was, how cruel it could be, but also about how much good still existed, how one act of kindness could inspire thousands more, how choosing compassion could change the entire universe. He had started as a simple cargo hauler. Now he was something more, a protector, a guide, a reminder that humanity could be beautiful when it chose to be. The Mugunghwa lifted off from Haven, carrying him back into the dangerous galaxy. More refugees waited. More lives needed saving, and Daehyun would save them, one at a time, for as long as he could, because that was what family did. And now the whole galaxy was his family. Above him the stars shone bright. Below him Haven's light faded into the distance. But ahead, always ahead, there was hope, and that was enough.